actor Michael Berryman, and I'm going to hopefully get some good answers from him. Your very first film was Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze. It's a comic book movie. I was just wondering, are you a comic book fan yourself, or did you just do it because you liked the role?
Actually, I was going to Homestead in Alaska. I was getting ready to sell my little gift shop in Venice Beach, California, around 1973. I believe it was that year. And a gentleman walked in my store. His name was George Powell, the producer of Warner Brothers, who did War of the Worlds. And he walked up to me. I didn't know who he was, and he actually did one of these numbers, and he said, "You have an interesting face. I'd like to put you in my movie." And I told him, "Well, thank you, but I'm not an actor. I have a degree in art history, but who are you?" And he says, "I'm George Powell." And then, like a surprised person that I was, I said, "Do you know who you are? You produced War of the Worlds." And he smiled and he said, "Seriously, I'd like you to be in my movie. I can Taft-Hartley you, give you a 2-day guarantee, get you a SAG card, and please be in my movie. I think you'll be good for The Undertaker with Ron Ely." And I go, "Okay." And that's how I got started.
Interesting. Now, among your other credits, I mean, along the genres anyways, you've done kids films, animation, horror. You've done pretty much everything under the sun. Is there a certain genre that you prefer to do over anything else?
Not especially. What I prefer, what I appreciate most, number one, is a very good production staff. I like good directors. I appreciate the camera. When I did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, we had 2 weeks of rehearsal. I worked 127 days. And because I have a love of art and appreciation of what that implies, I asked Milos Forman to please give me some advice. He walked me up to a Panavision camera and he said, "Look at the lens, fall in love with the glass." And I took it to heart, and what that meant was learn what all the buttons, dials, numbers, f-stops, and things like that mean. And for a working actor, it's most important that you understand composition and what the people that are doing to capture you are accomplishing. They're there for a reason. You can't just say, "I'm an actor, I'm an ingenue, capture me, I'm so talented." There's more to it than that. So I learned my craft in the trenches, so to speak. But to answer your question in a roundabout manner, I'll be direct now and say, I appreciate an excellent story first, with good character development, and good cinematography is a plus, and live sound is critically important, especially because there's nothing more dissatisfying than being in an ADR lab trying to lip sync and match live sound, especially on exteriors. So I would have to say my favorite is what prompted my imagination as a young man. That was comic books, yes. And number two, good writing. For instance, The Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, science fiction, yes.
Okay, just a couple of quick questions. I read online that this was years ago at another horror convention, that you're on lunch and a fan came up to you. He was very shy. I think he was maybe 10 or 13 or something, the story says, and you actually invited him to lunch and just had a chit-chat with him. Is there any truth to that at all?
It's absolutely true. People that know me understand that I appreciate my fans tremendously. That is absolutely true. I actually enjoy doing that because I know what it's like to be a fan. I actually met Rod Serling one night after a live TV taping of the Twilight Zone episode. He was at a 31 Flavors, which is an ice cream parlor in Santa Monica near Los Angeles, where I grew up. He was very, very nice. He actually spent time with my brother and I for about 25 minutes, and we discussed. I was kind of nervous, and I tried to say, "Hello, Mr. Serling, may I have a conversation with you?" But I was young and nervous, so instead my brother chimed in by going, "Doo doo 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 doo," and he got nervous and ran away. So I followed him out to his car and I said, "Mr. Serling, please stop." And he says, "What?" I said, "I want to thank you." And then you understand, I was nervous, 15 years old, and he says, "Thank me for what?" I wanted to say something intelligent, but my nervous condition, I said, "I want to thank you for your brain." And I'm going, man, that's just the lamest thing you could possibly say. And he's like going to the driver, "Start the car." And I said, "Please, no, I'm nervous." And he says, "Okay." He says, "What?" And I go, "You tell very good stories." And that just he lit up a cigarette. And he chain smoked, which he did, and he said, "Well, which ones?" And so that started the opening. He was very kind, and we spoke about some of his best writing and our favorite episodes for about 25 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Out on the street corner. So I appreciated that, and then getting an invitation to do something artistic to give me some kind of a career and future thanks to George Powell. He discovered me, and I always kept my promise. Thank you, George. And so I like science fiction. I love things where, I love everything Joss Whedon does. I love Gene Roddenberry's works. I like futuristic. I like horror. I'm not a big fan of splatter. It's torture porn. It makes money and pays bills. That's great. But I really think the fans at these conventions understand good storytelling and good acting and special effects. It's all good. But I like a character to have some depth. I don't really like a veneer, superficial cardboard cutout of a performance. The character has to have an arc, he has to have some kind of a challenge, and he has to rise to the occasion, even if he's the bad guy.
No, I agree with you 100% there. 2 quick questions. You have a movie called Brutal coming out. I honestly couldn't find a whole Brutal.
Actually, Brutal has been out for many years.
Oh my! I'm so sorry for getting that incorrect.
Don't be. That's actually, it's an excellent movie with Jeffrey Combs, and I play Leroy, who is an OCD gentleman who helped solve a murder mystery, and he is actually a cadaver dog handler. I got to work with some real bloodhound cadaver dogs. Yes, sir.
Wow. What was that like?
It was lovely because when I love working with animals. I lived at a wolf sanctuary for over 20 years, and I had my own canine security dog. I worked for a famous person for a couple of years as one of his guards, and I love animals. I love nature. So when you work with animals, you wind up spending your time separated from the rest of the crew for the purpose of the communication between the handler, you are new to the animals. Kind of like the dog whisperer. You need to understand their language so they can do what you would like them to do in a scene. So I find that very compelling and just a lot of fun. But I do have a new movie coming out. This is a little clip from it. Now, it's not a slasher movie. It's called Below Zero. It stars myself, Christian Booth, and Eddie Furlong. And Eddie everybody was wonderful. Eddie was fantastic. And I play Gunner. And it's based on a story about a screenwriter who cannot meet a deadline. It was written by Signe Olnick out of Canada and her producer, Bob Schultz. It just became available on Amazon and Netflix. It's a wonderful thriller. It's more along the lines of Hitchcock. BelowZero.com, check it out. All I can tell you is that you can watch it once and go, wow. Watch it a second time and go, oh, yes. And it holds up to subsequent viewing. It's an art film. It's very excellent, smart, well written.
I'll definitely have to be on the lookout for that.
Zero.
And where can fans find you? Are you on Twitter, Facebook, any other social?
I'm going to do a Twitter account. I am on Facebook, Michael Berryman. Ironically, though, Facebook, you can't call somebody up and say your service is weird. It commingles with my wife's personal website, but you can still find me on Facebook, and there'll be postings from my wife and friends and stuff. But I do about twice a week check them, and I also answer all my fan mail.
I'm really glad to know that the stories I've heard about you online are true. It's so rare that you hear a celebrity of any status being as generous and as open as you are.
I get some wonderful fan mail, and I do answer all my mail myself. And I usually take the letters, unless it's just a collector, which I do appreciate. And I write the note on the letter. And if it's a really excellent letter, I make a copy for my archives because some of them are inspiring. Some days we have good days and bad days, and my fans who write, thank you, because sometimes you have lifted my spirits when I was having a rough day. I had a gentleman this morning bring me a letter that I mailed back to him that I wrote a note on plus sent some pictures, and it was a full circle, and they were saying the same thing. Wow, you actually don't have a secretary doing your fan mail. So again, everybody who has written, thank you. Keep going to the movies. Take care of one another, and hey, make sure you laugh once in a while.
If you see him on the street or at a convention, make sure you come up and say hello. He's a great guy.
Yes. I'll teach you how to wiggle your ears.
Yeah, it's just so weird.